Hi, everybody. Well, we finally heard a little bit of a response from Carnival Cruise Line as the turmoil over their changes to the loyalty program really hasn't sat well with very many cruisers. And I'm going to try and explain to you a little bit about the cruise line side of things, and we'll see if we maybe might change our minds. So recently, Christine Duffy was on with John Heald on the cruise. They're opening Celebration Key. They made their first arrival there. Congratulations, Carnival, on opening your private island. A lot of people are very excited to visit there. But what they're not excited about right now is the announcement that they're changing their very important Fun Person loyalty program. In case you've been under a rock lately, they are now changing it to more of a rewards program where if you say don't sail for 2 years and accumulate any points, you basically lose your status. And a lot of people are very upset with this. The old system with cruise lines, and especially Carnival, was over time, every time you cruised, you would gain points. You would accumulate perks. But let's try and explain. Carnival basically has said that this is no longer sustainable. Having lifetime, accumulated people, there's just too many people reaching that status now. And you go, well, wait a minute. You have more and more ships. You're spreading your passengers out more and more. You have larger ships. Surely you can build for this system, right? Surely you can build your ships to accommodate more people having loyalty. I mean, that's the number one goal with cruise lines, right? Repeat customers, come back over and over and over again, spend more and more money on your ships. That's the ideal situation. However, let's break down the numbers a little bit right now. Carnival Cruise Line has been in business for 53 years, since 1974. I believe is when they started out, 72 maybe, but it's been 53 years. At the end of this year, Carnival Cruise Line alone will have handled 110 million passengers. That's a lot of passengers over that. But again, that's 43 years, 53 years, right? That's a lot of time. However, in the first 40 years, Carnival Cruise Line handled 45 million passengers. In the past 13 years, 1/3 of the time, basically, they've handled 65 million passengers. So they've 150% more passengers in 1/3 of the time. So you can kind of see where, how you're getting inundated with more and more loyalty programs. So the only other way to do this, other than changing it the way they're doing it, is to perhaps make it much harder to reach those statuses. And retroactively go back and say to everybody, well, you know what? If you needed 500 points to reach this status, well, now you need 1,000 points. Well, you can see the furor that would have erupted over something like that. You can see people would have freaked out over that. No way would they, they're changing the loyalty program right now. People are upset. And they're still guaranteeing people with the high status that they'll have their status for 6 years after this change next year. That's a long time to guarantee, so you still have time to build up your status. It's the newer cruisers that are going to be most affected by these changes. So yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of their points, right? The one thing I don't like about this new system that they're trying to bring out is that they're attaching a lot of it to the new MasterCard that they're going to bring out, where your daily spending is going to accumulate points, and the more you use this credit card, the more points you earn. You get higher points if you spend money on the credit card. So for instance, if you're on the ship and you buy a massage, well, you're not only going to get the points for the massage now, you're going to get the points from the credit card for the massage as well. And it kind of forces people who want to cruise with Carnival a lot to use that credit card, whether you want to or not. And credit card laws right now are a little different, say in Australia and Canada, but they're negotiating with them to come out with their version of a credit card. So you're going to have kind of 3 point systems with 3 different credit cards depending on the country you're coming from. That's a little bit awkward. That's a little bit awkward because you may have a perk in the United States where Canada won't get the perk just because of the credit card laws. It's a little bit of a weird situation. However, you can see the sustainability. Now, why are they addressing this? And they're coming out basically and just say, we want to be completely crystal clear. We want to be transparent. That's why we're telling you a year in advance. But they haven't told us the new points, how you're going to earn points, what direct spending is going to happen to earn these points, how, etc., right? So that's kind of still in the dark. However, people are angry. So much so there are many comments saying, well, I guess I'm not going back to Carnival. I want to be able to build my loyalty over the course of my cruising career. I might cruise twice, maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. Well, if you go by Carnival's new rules, that would accumulate to 4 cruises. So you'd only accumulate 4 cruises worth of status over the course of 2 years until it resat. However, if you go with another cruise line who builds it up over time, then in the 4 years you have it, but in your 3rd year, you would now have 6 cruises, and then in your 4th year, 8 cruises, etc. Until, of course, the cruise lines pay attention to this and decide maybe they might want to change their loyalty program as well. And I can honestly see that happening. I can honestly see them paying attention to Carnival, seeing the backlash, seeing if there's a drop in people booking Carnival now. Remember, they're at an all-time high in booking. All-time high. So unless bookings drop off and people go to other cruise lines, Carnival doesn't care if it's somebody who's been on the cruise ship for 30 years sailing their ships or a brand new person in that cabin, as long as they're spending the same amount of money. And that's really what business is all about, to be honest. It's all about the money. How much money you can, bring into the company and give out to your shareholders, etc. So can I blame them for doing this? No. Do I wish they were doing this? No. But you can kind of see when you break down those numbers, 150% of the passengers that they've sailed in their entire career on Carnival have happened in the past 13 years. You can see why. And we had the pandemic during that time when no one was sailing. Imagine what the numbers would be if we were sailing during that time. Crazy.